I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. And welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and this is my review for Titans Season 2. The second season focuses on the official reformation of the Titans as Dick leads a new team composed of Rachel, Gar, and Jason. The Titans' return, however, leads to the re-emergence of feared assassins Deathstroke, who prior conflict with the original team caused their disbanding. So Titans is actually a DC original series, but for the rest of the world that's not America, we get it here on Netflix, so finally we're getting to see it. I've been seriously awaiting. These few months have been torturous because I've so enjoyed season 1. I'm a big fan of Teen Titans, the animated Titans films, and so now this live action version, I was really impressed with what they did with the characters. Season 2 picks up where season 1 left with that big cliffhanger, and I was expecting it to take a long time to sort out that in the beginning, but thankfully it doesn't. It takes just a minute episode, and things are sorted in that area. I'm not going to do spoilers, so that's very quickly sorted, and as you've heard in the synopsis, we have Deathstroke as the main villain. So there's 13 episodes. They're about 40 minutes long. You can binge watch this quite easily if you've got a few days. I have to say, I wasn't expecting them to spend so much time on the original team. So where we have Dick trying to bring together this new team, and they've all got their issues. They're all very flawed characters. There's a lot of time spent on the backstory to give you an understanding of what has happened to these characters to make them disband in the first place, and now they've kind of have to come together to face this new enemy, and there's things in their past, and so the story spends a lot of time introducing characters that have been there before but that we don't know anything about or their past, and I was surprised by how much, and I thought that was going to irritate me, but actually it didn't. The way that it's intermingled and edited with the new Titans team, I think is done very well. It gives a strange pace to it that is uneasy and a bit all over the place. There's a lot of storylines that go left, right, in the past, in the present, following different tangents of new characters that are introduced to the team, so it is all over the place, but I think towards the end it kind of comes to a culmination of where all the storylines intersect and the team is kind of reassembled. DC. And so now you have this team who have gone through a lot of traumatic experiences, probably more than most of us will ever go through. They have, as with heroes normally, they have massive backstories that are really dark, and you get to see a lot of that, especially with the old team, and I think that was a good way to do it. I like the acting in this series. I didn't think it was particularly great in the first season. It took me a while to get to grips with what the characters are and how those actors are portraying them, but this season I feel like they've come into their own, and the actors, along with the script writing, have been given a little bit more to play with in the emotional depths, and I wasn't expecting to get emotionally involved with certain characters, and I did, which I think it lends itself to the kind of the credibility of writing a hero story that's not just, as we say in Afrikaans in South Africa many years ago, a skop skiet en donno. That just means it's just an action fest and there's no real depth to the storyline. That's not the case here. They spend a lot of time on character depth and character arc stories. So when you do get the action, which is excellent because the choreograph, the way they show fight sequences, I would say is better than the other series like Arrow and Flash, because they don't have any chains that are binding them to not show us what it actually looks like or feels like if you get your bones broken. And there is blood and gore and violence, and there's quite a bit of, I would say there's a bit of nudity in this one that I wasn't expecting either. It's not a kids live action hero story. It's more aimed at, I guess, 15 and up, late teens and adults. And I can see why they've gone for a more hard-hitting, gritty series, and I think it comes off really well. I do miss a bit of the lighter tones, the lighter touches, the comedy that you get in the Teen Titans, the animated. That's what I used to love. It's my favorite. Obviously, this is a different thing. This is Titans, not Teen Titans, and so there isn't that much comedy in this. It's mostly dark and gritty and people getting hurt and your characters, getting bruised and battered from villains that you don't expect and villains that we knew that was coming. I have to say the Deathstroke character in the Teen Titans world, or even in the DC world, has always been one of my favorite as a villain. He's if you get to know him a bit more, you know his past. He's very interesting, and he's always been that character that you think can really hold his own against anyone, even Batman. So when they come up against him, he's always calculated. The way they show him, you always think he's a few steps ahead, and so there is a threat of impending doom, which adds a nice sense of edge to the seat, your edge of watching this series. There wasn't a time when I thought that the whole team was safe, which I think is fun, because a lot of these series that in heroes like this, you have character plot protection or writer's protection, I guess you could call it, where you know they're going to get hurt, but you know they won't die. In this series, I guess most of the cards are off the table. You never know who's going to get hurt or who's going to die, who's going to be written out. And so you're on the edge of your seat, because although they've taken storylines and threads from the original comic books and stories and issues, I think they have done a little bit of their own storylines here. They've taken threads and then pulled it into something that's their own. Titans. It's really enjoyable. I like what they did. It's nice to see that you can still be creative with the comic stuff. If you're a diehard fan and you wanted the Titans to be exactly like you expected, I think you might be a little bit disappointed. For me, I love the character creations, the suits, all of the geekiness within, you know, your fandom. Your geekiness might over explode, because there's a lot of nods as well to the DC universe and other things that you know, like Easter eggs. That's a lot of fun to see. As a whole, the series is really good. If you like season 1, I think you're probably really gonna like season 2. Doesn't have as much as a big cliffhanger at the end, but there's definitely a season 3 coming, and they give you a little snippet at the end of episode 13. So don't just switch it off when you think the story finishes. There is a little clip for you to watch that lets us know what's going to happen in season 3. And I'm excited to see, now that hopefully that the team has sorted themselves out, because they got a lot of baggage in this series to sort out. We'll get a united front in season 3, I guess. Season 2 is basically about them sorting their crap out. There were a few times in this season where I was going, woohoo, and yeah, because I wasn't expecting the storyline to go a certain way, and when they did it, and it made me express myself in a joyous way, because I loved what I was seeing on screen. And that was like fight sequences, characters I wasn't expecting to see, the way they did fight sequences, the way certain characters did moves that I recognized from you know the comics or animated series, the way they nod. I think that's really a nice way to include all fans of the DC universe, I guess. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. I'm going to give this an A. I think it's a solid second series. I'm really looking forward to season 3, seeing what they're going to do with the characters. I have one little gripe, and that's the CGI for Beast Boy. I think I had an issue with it in season 1, and I don't think they've changed it. The actual tiger that he changes into looks fine. You always know it's CGI, but it looks fine. It's the transformation that looks a bit iffy. When he goes from human into tiger, I think it would be better if they just did a slight cut and then just went straight into the tiger, because that always takes me out of it, and you kind of step back and go, whoa, that just looks CG. That just looks like computer generated stuff. But that's the only kind of negative bit, and a few cheesy lines that are in there that made me go, ooh. Other than that, I think it's a really fun series to watch, and if you like hero stuff but you like it a bit more dark and gritty, a bit more real, then you're gonna love this. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about the second season. Are you excited to watch it? Thanks so much for watching this review, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.